If you see that you're not showing up in a certain way in these categories, you can have that conversation with your significant other, and y'all can make the corrections to your relationship so that you both feel like you matter in your relationship.
What's up, real ones? Welcome back to the Relationship Podcast, where we're bringing the real back to relationships.
Yes, sir.
I'm Asha Still.
I'm Devin Still.
And we're so excited that you guys are tuning in today.
Yeah, because we got another good one for y'all. It's going to be a quick one, but it's going to be a good one. Because, you know, sometimes the best ones are the quick ones. If you get what I mean.
You know what? You always got to go left.
I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Sometimes the quick ones are the best ones.
Okay.
You get in there, you get out. Wham, bam, thank you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're going to bring that energy to the podcast.
Okay.
Only we're going to be fully clothed on this one.
You know what? Okay. You guys, okay, before we get to that, okay? Because he ready.
Oh, we're going to get to that?
Before we get to it.
Okay. You need to be more specific. Because I need to know if I'm about to get something tonight, because we're going to have to make this even quicker.
We need to focus.
All right.
Okay.
I'm focused.
Now, you got some announcements?
Yeah, I do. I do got an announcement. I've been getting a lot of messages from men who are just eager and want to learn more, whether it be about fatherhood, manhood, business, money, faith. So what I decided to do is to put together a group called the Man Cave, where every Wednesday night I'm going to go live on YouTube and on Facebook, and I'm just going to talk to men. Like, if y'all have questions, I have a lot of knowledge. I've been able to accomplish a lot of different things in my life, and I want to be able to give that information to all the guys out there that want to do better, right? Sometimes people want to do better, but they just don't have access to certain information or knowledge. And now I've been blessed to be in a position where I've had access to that. I currently have access to it. So I want to be able to give people, or give men, that wisdom to help them go out there and be better leaders, be better husbands, be better fathers, be better businessmen. So every Wednesday night starting July 19th, because we're about to go on vacation, I'm going to go live, like I said, on our YouTube, Relationships, and on our Facebook channel. So all the men out there, make sure you tune in.
Yes, I think that's a great thing. Like you said, it's a lot of men that's out there reaching out in the DMs, asking questions. And I think it's very necessary to have a community where men can just come together and pour into each other and have positive energy. Because you see a lot of negative energy on social media. People deal with a lot of negative energy day to day. So to be able to go to a safe space where you can pour into each other and have that brotherhood, that manhood, and say, you know what, this is what I want. This is what I'm struggling with. This is what I'm having a problem with. This is what I want to learn. I want to grow in this area. I think that would be really big. So,
because I think a lot of times as men, we struggle to ask for help.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to create a community where we're not afraid to speak up. Like, if we're struggling with our mental health, if we're struggling in our business, if we're struggling to find ways to generate more income so we can take care of our family, I want that to be a place where we can actually talk about these things and come up with different ideas that you can do it. As a lot of you know, I have my master's in applied positive psychology, so I'm a mental health specialist. I have my MBA. I've built multiple businesses, and I'm about to get my certificate in general management from the Wharton School of Business at Penn as well. So I have a lot of different knowledge, expertise that I want to be able to share with different men out there.
Yes, you guys. So stay tuned and look forward to that. Another announcement. Okay, you guys, we are celebrating our birthday this upcoming week. Okay,
this is our last episode before we turn 34.
Yes, you guys.
How you feel about that?
I'm excited. Okay, I'm ready for my birthday. 34. It's like a really, I don't know. Like, you know how you think of like birthdays, you think like the milestone birthdays, like the 30, the 35. I don't know why, but 34 is big. I feel like every birthday is big to me. So I'm ready to celebrate and have a good time. How about you?
Me too. Like you said, 34 is not like one of those big birthdays, go all out. But I think each year that you get to share or have on this earth is a blessing. So I don't want to take it for granted just because it's not like 35 or 40 or 50. Like every single year you get to spend here with your family and your friends. You're able to still make an impact on people's lives. I think that it's a blessing. So I'm definitely excited. And this is like a new approach that I'm taking, because before I was like, I told myself that this podcast, I was going to stop saying like, so I'm going to focus on that. But I told myself before that, you know, birthdays and holidays don't really matter when you become a parent. That is really about the kid. You celebrate their birthdays big. You try to make sure you get them everything they want for Christmas. And it doesn't have the same impact that it once had on you when you was growing up or when you was a kid. But I want to change my approach when it comes to that. I want to be able to celebrate those birthdays and have them be meaningful. I want to celebrate those holidays because I don't know how many I have left. So I don't want to take it for granted.
Yes, you guys. And if y'all want to celebrate with us, okay,
go leave a tip.
Y'all
go click the link on our Instagram, Relationships Podcast. There's a link in there that says leave a tip for the podcast. Leave a tip or go buy a shirt.
Yes, you guys. Make sure y'all go check out our merch. Leave a tip, write a review, do all of that. Share this with a friend. Make sure
we
continue.
We off the review. Leave a tip.
You know what? Get out of here.
Go buy a shirt.
To spend that money.
I'm trying to come back home, right, to a bunch of shirt orders so I can recoup the money we're about to spend to celebrate our birthday. So again, go to Relationships Podcast Instagram, click the link in our bio, leave a tip, or go to relationshipspodcast.com or reallovecollection.com and buy a shirt.
Yes, you guys. So moving right along
should we give a discount for our birthday for our shirts?
Maybe we should just drop a discount for y'all.
All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do 25% off on our shirts. Use the code July Babies, plural, July Babies at your checkout. Get 25% off your orders. There you go.
There y'all have it. So
and this is only for July, but July 11th.
Yes.
That's when the discount code is going to be active. So go on to the website July 11th, type in July Babies at checkout and get 25% off.
Yes, you guys. So make sure y'all go check that out. And moving right along to our keeping it real moment, you guys.
What you want to keep it real about?
So I had a keeping it real moment in mind, but y'all, like when I'm like in the peaceful.
You saying like just as much as me.
I'm sorry. But when I'm in the peaceful, calm, just like silence of myself, okay? Because I'm so used to just children running around screaming all day. My husband asked me 1,000,001 questions.
Lies.
It's like when I'm able to just be by myself, I have time to think, right? And time to reflect. And I was thinking, and it was something that was put on my heart that I just wanted to share with you guys, because a lot of times I feel like we're looking for the blessings that God has in store for us, right? We're searching for them. Like we're working hard and we're just like, when is this going to happen for me? Right. And I found myself doing that as well, where it was, I want something to happen and I want it to happen in a certain time. And I'm just searching for that blessing. I'm just like, okay, God, I done did this. This time done passed. When is it going to happen? Right. But I had to sit back and really think about it. And it was me asking myself, are you really prepared for that blessing? Right? A lot of times we're not. And I sat there and I started to reflect, because when God sends you that blessing, it's not about what's provided to you, right? It's about the purpose of that blessing. So are you really prepared for the purpose of that blessing? Yes, if you get the blessing and it's a new job, you have a new opportunity, you have a new career, you get more money. But what is within that blessing that you're going to receive from God that you're going to be able to really fulfill it? Because it's not just about us. And I sat back and I was thinking about that, because it's just like, he's not about to send us that blessing and we going to shapeshift, okay? He want to make sure that we're firm and we're solid in him and what he wants us to do and the way that he wants us to walk. And I was asking myself and I was tugging with myself, like, are you doing everything that you can possibly do to be straight with God, to have the absolute most amazing relationship with him, the best understanding of what your purpose is on this earth? Are you doing everything that when you receive that blessing that you're not going to move in a certain way that he doesn't have a vision for you to move? And a lot of times when I ask myself that, I question that. Mm-hmm. If I would be on the straight and narrow path and not be sidetracked by my needs and my wants and what I see for myself with what God may have blessed me with versus what he wants me to do with that blessing. And so it just came to me and I had to share it because it was just, it was really like profound and eye-opening for me to just think about it like that. Like when the blessing comes, are you ready for the season of it?
Right.
Because it's going to be a lot that comes with it. It's not going to be, it's going to just be great. It may be some hardships that come with that blessing, but are you fully prepared to take on the good, the bad, the indifferent of what God is going to bless you with and see the vision that he has for you fulfilled in the long run?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that he only allows certain things to grow when you manage what you already have.
Absolutely.
Because there's no point of allowing certain things to grow in your life, whether it's financially, career-wise, if you're not even showing at this point in time that you can handle the money that you're making right now. Mm-hmm. If you're able to budget those finances, if you're able to manage and handle the responsibilities you have in your current position at work, in your family. So I think that you brought up a great point that oftentimes we want what we want right now, but if we received what we want right now, we would lose it because we may not have the knowledge, the skills, or the tools to actually sustain those blessings. We want to receive it, but can you sustain those blessings? Like everybody's in a rush to get married, but the goal is not just to be married, it's to sustain marriage over a long period of time. And a lot of people are not capable of doing that. We weren't capable of doing that in the beginning. And that's why, we do the work that we do right now, because we want to have that knowledge. We want to have that information to correct the things that went wrong early on in our relationship. Mm-hmm. So I think you brought up a good point. But I also want you to talk about how you traveled for the first time by yourself with the kids. What was that experience like?
Y'all. So this past week, I had to travel back home for family matters with my great grandmother, and Devin was here working. It was kind of like a rush, trip because we were planning a trip for her birthday. So it was just like turn around, got to come back and do all of that. But it was just like I said, it was a family matter. So I had to take Arya and Amaya with me. Okay. Now I've traveled with Arya before by myself, right?
Mm-hmm. Where?
I believe I traveled back home with her.
Did you?
It was just me and her. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
But not Amaya. Okay. Now traveling, I've seen moms in the airport traveling with the baby and the toddler. And sometimes it get a little hectic, okay? You got the baby crying. You trying to get the baby situated. The toddler rolling around all over the place.
I done seen babies crawling on the floor in the airport. They on leashes.
Okay.
In the airport. So why y'all got y'all kids on leashes in the airport? We're going to talk about it in another episode. That got to be traumatizing.
Listen.
Get your kids off the leash.
I'm not judging whatever they got to do because it's a struggle, okay? But no, I was preparing myself mentally because I was just like, are you really ready to travel with these two by yourself? And thankfully, I want to say thankfully, I had a smooth flight. And our travel wasn't so bad because I prepared myself, right? So I made sure that I did certain things to move in a certain way, pack light, because I like to pack heavy, but I packed light. I had certain things like instead of her stroller, her little carrier. So it just made everything transition easily, okay? But traveling and just being away from my husband and having to do things by myself was a struggle, okay?
Talk about it.
It was me around the clock, nonstop, with both of them, trying to be attentive to both of them. Like if I'm pulled right here with Mama, I got to turn around and be pulled with Arya. So it was a lot to try to balance and try to juggle, especially traveling. And like not just on the plane, but just traveling at home, trying to get from point A to point B, try to see family members, do all of this stuff, making sure, if Amaya needs to be fed or it's nap time. It was just too much. Okay. It was too much. And it made me have a great appreciation for my husband right here. I came home, I was like, you know what? I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful and grateful for you, because it is a struggle and you don't realize how important that balance is, to have your partner there to help you. Because in those times where it's like, oh, I'm struggling, I'm trying to get things over here situated with the baby, you can see that, or your partner can see that and say, okay, well, let me go ahead and handle, this child or whoever. And it balances everything out. Okay. Because it was a lot.
You said you ain't never leaving me.
Absolutely
I can't do
not.
this by myself. I cannot do the single mom lifestyle. But no, you made it. You made it. That's all that matters.
I did.
So I won't leave you by yourself no more. Well, let's get into today's topic, because like I said, this is going to be a short one, a quickie, but a good one. We wanted to spend this episode talking about mattering in a relationship. Do I matter? And how important it is to feel like you matter to your partner. And when we talk about mattering, it really consists of two parts. Mattering means that you feel valued by your partner, but not only do you feel valued by your partner, because that's not enough to feel like you matter, but you are also adding value to the relationship. So when we're talking about mattering, Asha, how do you see it? How do you feel mattering plays a part in our relationship and just in relationships in general?
I feel like it's like you said, it pretty much goes hand in hand with other areas of your life. You want to feel like you have a purpose within whatever role it is that you're playing. Like, you don't want to feel like you're undervalued. You want to feel like there's a reason for me being here, and that it's a significant reason for me. That is very important, that the roles and the things that I'm doing in the relationship that I'm in, whether it be a business, personal relationship, that it's important, the things that I'm doing for that relationship. And for us, I think that's really important for me, because like I said, I want to feel valued in my relationship. I want to feel like my husband sees me, that he understands me, but that, like you said, I'm also able to give the same thing back to you in return. So I think it's very important to me.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand that it is not a want that we have in life to matter.
Yeah.
To feel valued and add value. It's an actual need that we have. It's critical to our well-being to feel like somebody cares about us. And that even starts from childhood.
Yeah.
When it comes to your parents, like, you want to feel like your parents value you, like you belong in a family. Like, belongingness and mattering go hand in hand. We want to feel like we belong to a social group. We start off wanting to belong to our family. If you think about kids who feel like they're like the oddball in the family, what that does to their mental health, how they start to pull away from the family because they don't feel like they belong. Like, there's not that sense of relatedness in the relationship. And I'm not talking like about blood. Sheep. Yeah, I'm talking about you just feel like you don't relate on any level to your family. And therefore, you feel like you can't add value to your relationships with your family members. You feel like they don't value you and your input, and then you start to you stray away. It's the same thing with relationships. We have a need to feel valued by our partners. We have a need to feel like we're adding value to their life, like we're making them better. We're making the relationship better. I know we're going to get into our relationship in a little bit, but has there ever been a time in your past relationships where you felt like you didn't matter?
Absolutely. I feel like anytime that you experience a person cheating on you, start to feel like you don't matter. Not even you you don't feel like you matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because for someone that you would think cares about you or loves you to do something that is like the ultimate act in my eyes of betrayal, of course you wouldn't feel like you matter. So.
Well, was there a time before you even get to a place like that where it's like, well, that is, has there been any other incidents where you just felt like you didn't matter that wasn't on that level?
I feel like it kind of leads up. Sometimes people show little nuggets of if you matter, if you don't matter, of acknowledging things that you're doing, whether it is just appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going out your way to do something for somebody and they don't respond well to it, or they don't respond at all, or maybe they don't show that appreciation for what you're doing, you genuinely try to do something for someone, that starts to show like, well, dang, do I matter? Does this person care about my thoughts and my feelings, because I'm going out to, extend myself for them, and it's not being reciprocated. So I think you start to see little things along the way where it shows if you truly matter to a person or not before you get to, something like that.
When you was in those positions where you felt like that person didn't value, did it affect the way that you approached the relationship and like your behaviors and stuff?
I don't know if it, I honestly don't know if it affected. I can't even think back that far to know. I feel like
you better act like you got amnesia about your relationships from the past. That is the right answer. Like, that is the answer. What relationship?
No, but I mean, I'm sure that with anyone that it would affect how you handle things. If someone is showing you that you don't matter, I feel like you start to withdraw a little bit from the relationship, from the person, because it's like, I'm putting myself out there and I'm showing you this, or I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and it doesn't seem like you care.
Mm.
So when you don't feel value, when you don't feel like you matter to that person, you start to slowly withdraw from them.
Yeah. I think that's the case. Well, it's not that I think. That's what your research shows, is that when people feel like they matter to their partner, they have higher levels of relationship satisfaction, and they're more likely to invest in their relationship. So like when you have to question whether my partner really cares about me, whether they value me, or if I'm able to contribute to this relationship, if you feel like that part is missing, then you start to pull back. You start to withdraw. Like if I'm showing up in this relationship for us, for you, I'm doing this for you, you're not appreciating it, you're not respecting it, then naturally I'm going to start to do less of what I was doing before, because I feel like it's not producing the outcome that I thought it should produce.
Right.
And that's why mattering in a relationship is so important. Like the feeling, like if you have the question, do you matter? You know how bad that has to feel?
Do you know
to
how
somebody?
bad it has to feel? Have you ever experienced not feeling like you mattered?
Man, not in a relationship sense. Like I've been with you for over 10 years, but there have been places in my life, or times in my life, where I felt like I didn't matter. Even if you go back to when Leah was diagnosed with cancer. Like, of course, when she got diagnosed with cancer when I was with the Bengals, they showed up for me. As far as a company, as a team. They held me down. They had my back. But I felt like I was in a place where I could not add value. Like I said earlier, it's not enough to feel like people value. Like I felt valued within that organization because they allowed me to show up for Leah the way that I wanted and I needed to show up for her, for my sanity,
right,
for my mental health. But I was in such a bad place trying to deal with accepting the fact that she was fighting for her life, that I couldn't show up on the football field in a way in which I knew I was capable of showing up. So although I felt valued by the organization, I couldn't add any value. And the way that I would see myself adding value as a player is to be able to go out there and perform on the field. So that I was struggling with that the whole time I was there, that I couldn't add value. So that I felt like I didn't matter. When people didn't show up for me in the way that I thought that they would during that time, I felt like I didn't matter. Because perceived support is better for your mental health than actual support. Like I always perceived that the people that I had in my life would show up for me in certain ways. And that felt good, feeling like you have a strong social network that will be there for you during times of struggle. Like it makes you feel confident to go through life, that if I ever went through something, that this person will show up for me. But when you actually are going through it and then you see who really shows up for you, for a lot of people, that hurts their mental health because people don't show up the way that they perceive that they would before that tough time came. So those are two major points in my life where I felt like I didn't matter. As far as our relationship, there hasn't been a time where I felt like I didn't matter. And I know we're going to go over in a little bit, but there's 8 different ways that people try to measure how much their partner, how much they matter to their partner. Mm-hmm. And when I look at these different categories, and when I was doing the research, I was looking at it, and to me, I feel like these categories were fulfilled in our relationship. Like I never had to question whether I mattered to you. And I know that you didn't have the same experience, which we're going to touch on a little bit. So before we do, let's just outline what these categories are. Like I said, when people are measuring, because they do measure how much they matter to their partner, there's normally 8 categories that they look at to see how much they matter to their partner. And the first one is these are called attending behaviors, how well your partner attends to you. The first one is physical attention. And that's basically just displays of affection, like holding hands or hugging or kissing, or whether your partner buys you gifts or purchases you flowers. Like one of the main things that we look at is how much of that attention we're receiving from our partners.
Yeah. I think physical attention is, I don't know if it's maybe the most important one for some people.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be top priority, right? Because you want to have those physical interactions with your partner. You want to have those intimate interactions with your partner. It's crucial, right? Yeah. Physical intimacy, emotional intimacy, it goes hand in hand. So I think when you're lacking in those areas, it definitely affects if you matter to your partner or not.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say you don't know how much of an impact that has. And I can't really speak to everybody because I know that love languages matter. But I think that in our relationship, there was a point in time where that physical intimacy wasn't there. And I'm talking about like non-sexual,
right?
Where we weren't kissing as much. We weren't holding hands. We weren't hugging because we had been through so much in our short amount of time together that we kind of lost our way. Mm-hmm. And even in those moments where we lacked that physical intimacy, I never questioned, did I matter to you? I just felt like we had lost our way because of what we went through, but it didn't really impact me as much as far as questioning my value to you. Did it do the same thing to you? Did it make you question because we weren't hugging and kissing? I know for a lot of people who we have a lot of new listeners. Like this podcast has really been taking off lately. Mm-hmm. And they may not have listened to the previous episodes where we talked about when Leah was going through everything she was going through. We weren't having sex.
Right.
Like at all like that because it was too much stress going on. Did that ever make you question?
I don't think it was just the physical, so much physical, because I feel like being in that situation, it's a tough situation, right? Seeing it so firsthand, like how I did, I understood that it was a very tough situation to be in. So I didn't necessarily expect so much from you as far as that. I think the huge factor for me was the emotional intimacy, right? The physical was very important, like you said, because those small gestures of having the hug or the intimacy of just a kiss or something, embracing each other in that matter, right? I think that's really where things could have shifted for me. Not so just as much as, just sexual, because when you're so withdrawn because of something so traumatic like that, it's hard to even be in that mood sexually. But I think those embraces of just knowing that, okay, my partner's here hugging and, you know, having that embrace would have made a huge difference, right? For me. And I feel like that definitely made me feel like, or question, did I matter to you in our relationship because I wasn't having that connection?
Okay. So then maybe the second category probably spoke to you during this time.
Yeah. Well, so, okay. The second category is verbal attention. How much your partner tells you how much you matter to them, right? This is big for me in general because my love language is words of affirmation, right? And so I think having your partner, having you be able to tell me how much I mean to you, or how important it was for me just to be there, was that little glimpse, right? That little glimpse of hope.
It was that glue that was holding us together?
Absolutely. Because like I said, for that to be my primary love language, which was like most important to me versus all the other 5 love languages, I think that spoke so much to me. Like you said, it was the glue that held us together, because at least that was being fulfilled, if nothing else was. Yeah. So being able to hear how important it was for me to be there with you, even if I felt like, in those times where we weren't connecting, does it matter to him? It was reassured by you just saying something, or you just saying to me that, you know, me just being here means a lot to you. Yeah. Right. It doesn't have to be that many words, but just knowing that, okay, I just need you here right now. Yeah. Like, this is important for me to be here, for you to be here with me. I think that really helped, like you said, to keep our relationship together and to let me know for sure that I mattered in those moments.
Do you think that we do a good job of that now, as far as the verbal attention? Or well, me, I know physical, we good. We got that physical attention back. No. That thing back, baby. Oh, but so I don't even got to ask about that. But as far as verbal attention, do you feel like you get enough of that from me now?
I do. I feel like we have been working to improve on all of those areas. Like we said, for all the new listeners, if you haven't heard before, if it's y'all just tuning in, being in that state where we were a few years ago, where we were so withdrawn from each other emotionally, physically, it was a lot. It took a huge toll. So I think we continue to just do the work to not only get our relationship back to a place, but to a better place than it was before. Yeah. So I definitely see a huge change in the attention that you pour into me verbally, the physical attention, of course, like you said, but the verbal attention of just being more. I love the way you smiled
about that. What kind of thought did you just have cross your mind?
I can't. You guys, he always got to go.
I thought you just had a specific thought cross your mind. I just wanted to know. We wanted to know. Why you smiling?
I'm not
what you think about?
It's like, nah, yeah. But no, I think it shows that we're being a lot more intentional, for sure.
Okay. No, I think that as well, even as you touched on earlier in the podcast, how you said, you know, I don't want to do this without you. Like, you matter when it comes to this parenting stuff, that the fact that we're a team makes, you know, my life easier. That for me is that verbal attention that I need as well, that, okay, I do matter. She does value what I add to this household as far as being a parent. I think it's really important. The third way that people measure whether they matter to their partner is regard, like how your partner tends to your feelings a validation and esteem? Do they make you feel good? Do they make you feel capable of being a good partner, being a good parent, being somebody that can go out there and provide for the family? It is really important. They respect your opinion. They respect what you have to say about your household, your relationship, about things in life in general, and they care about your well-being. And I've always said from day one, you have always held me in high regard. Like, I know that you validate me. When I come to you and something's wrong with me, you don't try to shut me down. You validate how I feel. If I'm trying to take on a major challenge in my life, you there to boost my self-esteem, to let me know that you believe in me, that I can accomplish whatever I put my mind to. All those things are very important. You respect my opinion because you know that I'm not just about to tell you anything. If I don't know something about something, I'm going to go research and I'm going to go learn it. And you respect the things that I say and how I feel like things should go within our household. And obviously, you care about my well-being, physically and mentally. You always been there. Man, you saved me. There's a time where, you know, I needed back surgery and I was trying to play in the playoffs. So I'm like, I'm trying to ignore how much pain I was in, crying at nighttime in our home, trying to just make it through the night because I wanted to play in my first playoff game. Like, this was big. And you was like, bro, get up. We going to the hospital. And the fact that you made me go to the hospital and I found out just how bad it was and I ended up getting surgery, you saved me from a lot of damage. When it came to my mental health, I can come to you and share what I'm going through, and you don't look at me as like being weak. You don't do none of that. Like, you speak life into me. You help me see ways that I can stop the negative thoughts that I may be having, or things that I can do in order to make myself feel better. So I've always felt like you've held me in high regard.
I feel like that's a standard that we had both set without even knowing from the beginning, with just really pouring into each other and uplifting each other, encouraging each other, even from things that you were doing from the beginning with me, like when I was in my profession of being a cosmetology, just, you know, doing things, going out and purchasing shirts for me, or purchasing what else did you purchase? You purchased a lot of stuff.
We went to
India. Okay.
Yeah, I don't
That's
even listen. One. See, I don't know if we would have did that now, but I had just finished reading the book Shoe Dog, Phil Knight, about how he started Nike and how he was like going to Hawaii and going overseas to try to find manufacturers for the shoes. And when I finished that book, you was like, I want to sell hair. And I said, we're going to India. Yeah. I wasn't even joking. The next week we was on a flight to India. I don't know what we was thinking, but that was just me showing you how much I believed in you and how much I wanted you to know that you can succeed at whatever you put your mind to.
Yeah, I think that's so important when you're in a relationship, to show your partner that they matter to you, is when you show up for them in those ways and you really encourage them and give them that push. Because like you said, a lot of times when you want to do something, we're kind of hesitant as individuals, right?
Yeah, we're questioning. Yeah.
Yes, you're constantly questioning, like, oh, should I do this? Is it the right
Imposter
time?
syndrome.
And it's a struggle. So to have that person there to see the potential in you and to just, like you said, speak life into you and to give you that little push to say, you know what, you got this. Go ahead. You good. And if you do feel like discouraged, I'm here to support you along the way. I'm here to give you that back. And I think that's so major. And that's something that I think really set from the beginning of our relationship.
Yeah. And I think even creating an environment where it's okay to fail.
Absolutely.
Is very important. Because there may be people out there that in a relationship where their partner may be reluctant to give you that push, but ultimately they give you that push. And then when you do fail, like, see, I knew that you shouldn't have done it, but I just didn't want to say nothing because I didn't want to start an argument. It's like, nah, if we step out here and we do something and we fail, it's not like we're going to rub it in each other's face. Like, yo, I told you, I knew you shouldn't have did it. It's like, no, we understand that when you're trying to strive to do something great, when you're trying to strive to do something that has never been done before, you're going to face failure. We learn how to accept failure, but never accept defeat. And I think that when you're trying to create that in your relationship, you got to let your partner know that it's okay to fail. And when they do fail, you're going to be there to support them 110%, to give them that boost in self-esteem that they can go out there and conquer whatever it is they want to do moving forward.
Yeah. The next thing, you guys, is presence, right? Just how devoted your partner is to you, how they show up for you. If they're listening to you, they see you, they take interest in things that you're interested as well. It's really showing that presence of them being present with you, right? Yeah. And that really matters to a lot of people, for them to feel like, oh, I matter to my partner. I
failed years ago with that, didn't I? Let's talk about that, because like you said, presence is really about your partner paying attention to you and listening to you. I know we've had discussions before that I failed at doing that in the past. Did that really make you question whether you mattered to me?
Yeah, I feel like most of a lot of that was in the season of just trauma, right? It was trauma, it was chaos, it was a lot of the unknown in that season. And I try not to fault you too much, because I understood the severity of like what you were up against. But at the same time, it's kind of hard. As human, we have feelings, we have emotions, right? It's kind of hard to just ignore them. And so there was definitely times where I felt like you weren't present and really understanding how important it was for you to be present with me, for you to hear me, for you to take interest in the things that I was interested in, and just being not only just like just there, right? Just there, like present with me, even if it wasn't just doing too much. And so I think that was a struggle for us during that season, a major struggle.
Yeah, sure. I agree. The fifth way that people measure how much they matter in a relationship is how much you incorporate them into your life. People want to feel like they're needed by their partner. They want to feel like they're included in their family and their friends network. They want to be included in your inner world. We hear from so many people, a lot of women that say, I can tell my man is going through a lot of stuff, but he just won't let me in. He won't tell me about it. Even with the real one that we had send us a message not too long ago about how her boyfriend, or maybe was she married? I can't remember, but her significant other cheated on her. She took him back, and then he started to go out with his friends to the bars and stuff. And he never incorporated her on those outings. And his friends brought their girls and stuff. Like, she felt like she wasn't incorporated into her life, and it made her question whether the relationship should still move forward. She was questioning whether she mattered. So many people feel like they're not incorporated into their partner's life. Like they may live in the same house, but they're living separate lives.
Yeah. It's so funny because a lot of these things I've experienced in our relationship, right? I remember a time for sure. Okay, you guys, this memory, like, but it's so like clear to me because it kind of shifted my mentality without even knowing all of this then, to really question, like, do I truly matter to this man? Because it was a time, like I said, we were in that season, okay? And it was a lot going on. And I remember you and Leah you were always put on just the two of us.
By Will Smith?
Yes. And at first I thought it was cute because I'm like, oh, it's cute. You know, they're interacting, they're dancing. And after like the umpteenth million time of hearing it, it started to weigh on me. And I was just like, I get it, but it's no longer just the two of them, right? It's like I'm here in the midst of this storm. I'm showing up. I'm laying on this heart behind cot in this hospital. I'm helping when you need help with, tubes and feedings and waking up and helping you when you're going through stuff and just being there. All of that. And not even just for Leah, but for you as well with your injuries and everything that you was going through. And it was like, dang, like to see that connection, I was taken back by it. And I didn't feel included. And I think that was probably the biggest thing that, to me, that had happened, where it was just like, I started to really notice that feeling of mattering or not mattering when that happened. And I believe that we spoke about it. I don't believe if we spoke about it in the midst of everything going on, but I believe that we spoke about it after the fact, because like I said, that was a big thing for me. Like I was just like, oh, throw that song out the window. I don't want to hear this song no more. Okay. Like it's just too much. Right. But it was a lot. It was hard. And I feel like a lot of people experience that, whereas maybe not to that degree, but you don't feel like you're incorporated in your partner's life. You feel like you're an outsider in a sense. Yeah. And it doesn't make you feel appreciated, doesn't make you feel valued. And you definitely question if you matter to that person or not.
Yeah, you said something when you was making your point that really stuck out to me, is that before we even knew this, we was experiencing this. And I just hope that all the listeners, all the real ones who may be listening to this or watching this right now, that you're actually taking notes about these 8 different categories of mattering, because it'll allow you to sit back and just process, how am I showing up in each of these categories for my partner? Right. Because if I would have knew this beforehand, there could have been times where I was sitting in the back, man, I'm not incorporating Asha into certain things that are going on right now. Maybe she feels like I don't value her being here, or I value her commitment, or value her presence. So understanding these things, why we share this type of stuff with you all, is because we want you to understand it. Because again, knowledge is power. Successful application of knowledge is the foundation to relationships. So when you are knowledgeable on these different things, you can either continue doing the things in your relationship if they're positive, or you can course correct. If you see that you're not showing up in a certain way in these categories, you can have that conversation with your significant other, and y'all can make the corrections to your relationship so that you both feel like you matter in your relationship. But I just wanted to touch on that because you brought up a really good point about, if we would have known this earlier, we could have avoided a lot of heartache and pain in our relationship. Yeah. But now we know, and we're sharing this information with the world.
Yeah, the next one that to show if you matter to your partner is the commitment. And the thing with this is, I feel like we've had the balance of some of these, right? So where we speak of maybe the lack of incorporation, there was the commitment. Yeah. There was the just showing up and being there for that person in their time of need. And we had that. And that was the balance. I feel like you said with the glue, it was just a scale of, if it feels like it's tipping a little bit too low, that was lifting it up, right? Because there was always times, or there was never a time where I didn't feel like you were showing up for me in my time of need when I really needed you.
That I wasn't showing up for you?
Yeah, like that you were always there to support me in those times where it's like, okay, I need you. I'm going through something and you showed up. And I don't know about you. I mean, I know about you, but I would like for you to share
I feel like,
with the viewers.
No, I feel like you've been 100% committed. I've never questioned your commitment. That's what I'm saying. When I was going through this stuff, I was like, I don't know too many areas in which I felt like Asha wasn't showing up. Well, I won't say that you was 100% committed the whole time.
No, I even said that.
Yeah, I feel like you withdrawn a little bit, but it wasn't that was just like so alarming. Like even when you would throw out the word divorce, I knew it wasn't because you actually wanted to get a divorce, but you were trying to get my attention to see that you needed me to change because my behaviors or my actions or my lack thereof was hurting you. So I always felt like you had a high level of commitment to me and to this relationship. And one of the ways that people really measure commitment is even marriage. Like, how long are you drawing this out? Like, how long are we going to be dating? You hear that all the time. I can't be with you 4 or 5 years and there's no commitment.
Right.
So that's one of the ways that people measure it. And also, I recently saw, I don't know who this couple is because I don't really watch TV. I don't watch reality TV, but I guess somebody from the Real Housewives, they just split. And the lady was talking about how she filed for divorce or whatever because they were going to marriage counseling and then the husband just stopped going. So she ended up filing for divorce. That's even a way that people measure commitment too. Like, okay, we have issues in our relationship. We're seeking help. I'm showing up every day to this and you're not. You're not committed to this relationship as much as I am. And what do we say when people don't feel valued in a relationship, where they don't feel like they matter? They don't put as much investment into the relationship. They start to withdraw from it. And as you can tell from filing for divorce, that's like the ultimate withdrawal. So that's how important these things are when it comes to creating a successful relationship. The next one, number 7, is comparison. People are going to compare the attention you give them relative to other things and other people, like such as your job, your friends. For those out there that are gamers, how much time you're spending on playing the game compared to how much time you're actually spending quality time with your partner. They also compare the time that y'all are spending or your relationship to societal norms. Like, how does our relationship compare to what everybody else is doing that may be in a healthy relationship? Or even you see that happening on social media where people are comparing what is going on in other relationships. That's one way that we try to measure how much our partner cares about us is, okay, well, I saw that this person was having a tough time and she was sick at work and her husband bought her soup.
Yeah.
Or her husband sent flowers to her job. My husband never does that. Or I don't even know how we would compare women. Or my boy said he having sex like 5 times a week. I'm getting it once every 3 months. Like, this is how you start to compare stuff in your relationships, and you start to measure whether your partner cares about you that much. And in a relationship, I think in a relationship, your partner wants to feel like the #1 priority. That's why I messed up I think in our marriage in the beginning, because I know that you had to have a lot of comparisons. Like, look how he would drop everything for Leah. Look how he would do this. Look how he would do. Would he do that for me? And I wasn't making you feel like the #1 priority in our marriage until you started to voice that. And I'm like, okay. And I started to read things. I started to say, the parents, the 2 spouses have to be the team. They have to come first. The marriage has to come first, because when you have a healthy marriage, then you can have a healthy household, which then impacts the well-being of the child. So that's something I think that me and you really had to work on, or I really had to work on.
Yeah. I think comparison is like a double-headed sword. Like, you have the good effect of it maybe, but then it's definitely the negative effect.
I think it's not a maybe. There is a good effect to it where you have to, like, even if you grew up seeing a healthy marriage from your parents, of course you're going to compare your marriage to, your parents' marriage. But I think there's a healthy dose of that, because you realize that every situation is different, but there's no way that we can go through life without comparing anything, because there has to be a certain standard. Like, even if you're not comparing it to a couple or individual, when you look at the research, you're going to compare your relationship to what the research is saying. So I don't know how you go through life without comparing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of times with the comparison thing, it's not just the It's more so the negative that's impacted by the negative of, oh, like you said, oh, this person is doing this for this person. Why is it not being done for me? And so I think, like you said, we definitely suffered from that in our relationship early on. But I think it's all about perspective. Yeah. To be honest, being able to understand your partner's perspective and understand why things are being done in that particular incident, but also being able to voice those concerns and those comparisons to your partner, and your partner allowing that to be like an open space for them to welcome those concerns as well. Because if you do see, oh, well, maybe this person is doing that, I would like that done. That could be an easy conversation, to say, hey, oh, this is what's happening from here, and I really like this, right? Yeah. Everything, I feel like it opens up the door when you are able to have a conversation about something. It allows for you to open it up, that door, and to welcome your partner's perspective and for them to clearly understand your perspective. So I think, like you were saying, the good part of the comparison is that you're able to have that conversation and better understand what your partner is needing.
Yeah, you brought up a good point about needing a voice. You can't matter. You can't add value. You can't feel like you are valued if you don't have a voice and you don't have visibility. And I learned that just from, growing up in the inner city. A lot of kids growing up in the inner city feel like their life doesn't matter because they feel like nobody can see them. Nobody sees the pain that I'm going through. Nobody sees the struggle that I'm going through. And even when I speak up, you don't even want to listen to me.
Right.
You don't want to hear about my pain. So therefore, I feel like my life doesn't matter. So I don't care about life anymore. It's the same thing. You show up at the job. If you just show up and you're always getting overlooked, nobody wants to hear your thoughts on your inputs on certain projects, you don't want to be there anymore. The same thing in relationship. If a partner feels like they don't have a voice, they don't have a say-so, they can't give their opinion on how certain things can go in their relationship, if they feel like they're invisible to you, how can you matter? How can you feel valued? Why would you even want to add value to that relationship when your voice doesn't matter? Your partner doesn't even see you. So many people are in relationships right now where they honestly feel invisible by their partner. Like they may be in the same house, but you walk past each other and don't even speak. It's like they're not even there. Y'all take care of the responsibilities of the house and the kids, but as far as y'all actually stopping and talking and sharing moments together, it's not even happening. Y'all playing ghosts out here.
I feel like that's really at the breaking point, I feel, for relationships when you're at that space. It's like we either gonna figure this out right now, because we definitely headed to separation or something. When you're in a space of just not even really coexisting, y'all just there. Yeah.
I don't think that there's couples out there that are not doing this on purpose. That life is just so busy with work, with kids, taking them to their extracurricular activities. You don't even notice that you just walking past your partner.
But like, it's so important for
me and you won't go into the same. Me and you won't be in the same room without speaking.
Yeah,
we'll be like, "Oh, you ain't see me? Oh, you just gonna walk into the house and not gonna say nothing?" Like, we won't even let ourselves get to this point where it's just like we walking past each other like you don't even exist. Like, no, even if you just saw me 2 minutes ago, like, acknowledge me. I'm gonna smack you on your butt. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do stuff to let you know I see you.
Yeah. But I think it's not even just those small gestures. I think it's so important to be intentional with your partner, to let them know that they matter in those times, because like you said, the hustle and bustle of the day to day of, oh, I have to handle this, I have to handle that, I'm at work, I have this test, I come home. Like, you do get wrapped up in so many things, but to just not acknowledge your partner it's a downward spiral that, unfortunately, whether you're doing it intentionally or not, can end in the separation of your relationship, the demise of your relationship. So I think it's very important to be intentional with acknowledging your partner. It's so crucial.
Yeah. The last one is if your partner is cognizant of you, which is basically mean that your partner is aware of your thoughts and your feelings. For me, I think that this showed up this past week when you went home. You left me, and I knew that being away from me for that long, you miss me. Like, I'm in tune with your thoughts and feelings. Like, I know how you was feeling. I knew that you wish that I was there. I knew that you missed me, that you needed my support. Another thing of being cognizant is that you feel like your partner understands you. There's so many times where I'm going to tell you what you're going to do before you do it, and you be like, you think you really know me. Yes. Because I do. I've been with you for over 10 years.
Yeah, he sound like somebody parent.
No.
I do. I know. I know what you about to do.
Yeah, like this like we talked about earlier about being a student of your partner. Like, when you try to take on, you try to understand your partner's thought process, right? When you know that your partner misses you, that's a good feeling.
Right.
When you're apart, you don't have to question, do they really miss me? Like, that's extremely important. And oftentimes we try to understand our partner's thoughts without even speaking with them. And when you reach a level where you understand their thoughts, you understand their actions and their behaviors, when you know that your partner knows that about you, you feel like you matter to them because they're paying that close of attention to you, that they know these things about you that other people won't know because they don't have that intimate relationship with you.
I think that for me, this showed up a lot more in recent years with us from my perspective. Because like I said, in the beginning, it was so much of everything going on, from your career, from things that was happening with your injuries, from things that was happening with Leah, moving around. It was just so many things that was all over the place, right? And it was really hard to understand you or get a grip of your inner workings or your feelings or things that was bothering you without, asking, right? Just automatically being, like you said, being in tune and just knowing off the bat. And I think for most people that comes with years anyway, with being able to experience a person and see them in different
seasons of their life and areas and how they handle things. And I definitely see that now more than ever, to be able to see you, right? It could be just looking at you or something that you do in a certain way and you do it differently, and I can automatically tell. Or if it's like the smallest thing, I can see and understand what you may be experiencing because I have that understanding of you throughout all these years. And so I think that definitely, I feel like that's so important, right? It's so important to be aware of your partner in that way, to be that intentional, because it helps you, like I said, to understand your partner without having to ask. Sometimes it's hard for us to really voice things. Not ask
and
for
you
help.
Want, right, not to ask, and you want your partner to just want the person to just be like, them to know, notice, right? I know a lot of people probably have. I know for me personally, I have, where it's like you're going through something and you may not want to say nothing about it, but you want to say something. But you just want someone to say something to you, to welcome that out of you. And when
to see your pain.
Right. And when your partner is there and they can see it without you even having to say anything, and they open up that dialogue with you and allow you to, pour out whatever it is, or for you to voice whatever, I think it's a beautiful thing, because it's just like you're that in tune with your partner.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the 8 things, 8 ways that people measure how much you value them. As far as adding value, because like we said, it doesn't matter how much you feel valued if you're not adding value to a relationship, to your partner, you will feel like you don't matter to them. And the reason why we didn't want to go do a list of the ways that you can add value to your partners, because everybody's different. Like, the way that Asha adds value to me, another man might not necessarily see that as adding value, and vice versa. So I think that is very important. Now that you have the foundation as far as how you measure value in a relationship, that you need to now sit down and have a conversation with your partner about how they can add value to you. I think is really important, because when you get these two things, you can build a relationship where you both matter to each other, when you don't have to question, do I even matter to you or to this relationship? You can be a part of something where you feel like you belong. Like when you're in a relationship where you feel like you belong, man, it's a game changer. So definitely have that conversation about how you can add value to your partner, how you can add value to your relationship, so that you can have this critical aspect of mattering in your relationship.
So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Guess what, though?
What's up?
This wasn't a quickie. I don't want y'all to think that when I tell Asha I'm trying to have a quickie that we go for an hour plus. This is not how. This ain't.
See, we had to get deep, you guys. We had to get deep. He was trying to give y'all a quickie, but it was just too good. He had to go for the long.
I like the way you're talking right now. I like the way you're talking right now. This is my language. But nah, this definitely went longer than I thought it was going to go. But you really never really know with this type of stuff. One thing that we try to do with our podcast is not just bring y'all the research, but actually add that personal touch to it. So we get on here and we talk about, you know, things that we went through in our relationship, so that you can see how these things may show up in a relationship, so that you can have a greater understanding of not only where we've been, but where we're at now, to give you hope that whatever you're going through right now in your relationship is not too much to overcome, because we wouldn't be here today if we just gave up whenever we face certain challenges in the past. But look at us now.
Right. Absolutely. So until next time, you guys, keep it real.
Yes, sir.